I can't believe we're on DDR5 already. I remember a few years back, it seems, where DDR3 was DDR3 was the thing that everybody was using. Now DDR3 is at the bottom of the list. So let's find DDR4 prices and go with a couple of different ranges. So price low to high. One stick of 8 gig is $45. Okay. Two sticks of 8 is 95. That's kind of crazy. You can get 16 gigs for $95 though. This site has really bad sorting. Let's find 32 gigs. So, 32 gigs, 2x16, $180, and let's try 64 gig. $400, 2x32. Okay, let's have a look at DDR5 prices then. So, we'll go sort by price low to high. Lowest tier is 32 gig for $380. So you can't even get 8 gig and 16 gig kits, at least in Australia. Maybe you can elsewhere, but at least here, this is the minimum I'm seeing. So, 32 gig over here, just double checking the price. I think that's the price of the 64 gig. 32 gigabyte. Yeah, it's roughly double the price. Okay, so the 64 gigabyte then, if we can even get 64 gig, $800. So yeah, it's about double the price right now. 5,200 megahertz? 6,400 mega. Wait, when did RAM speed get so high? Wait, when did this happen? I didn't even realize this had happened. Wow, okay. I think I'm running like... Yeah, I think I'm running like... maybe 3,000 megahertz? What the fuck? DDR5 is a big jump then. Wow. That's crazy. I don't know what it would be like in real world performance. Obviously, if you go with like memory benchmarks, you can like build situations where your megahertz does actually matter, but real world performance is ultimately what would be the most important thing to consider. And obviously you need CPUs that do benefit from a higher speed RAM. But I'm probably going to keep a hold of this CPU for a bit until RAM prices become sensible. Every time there is a new type of RAM, it's always this ridiculous price. Like I remember when DDR4 was like, it wasn't as bad because there wasn't like the part shortage at the time, but DDR4 when it first came out, I think it still was double the price of DDR3, but double the price was $400 instead of $200, for example, not like fucking 800. 800 is more than I want to spend on my new GPU. Actually, on that note, while we're on the topic of PC hardware, there was this article that came out from the Intel CEO, or at least this comment from the Intel CEO, who says he thinks the chip shortage will last into 2024, which is kind of interesting, and it sort of goes against one of the theories that Linus had, which is sort of playing out in Australia as well. But anyway, thinks the semiconductor shortage will last in 2024. This will have knock-on effect in the gaming space. The CPU prices, GPU prices stay elevated. That's part of the reason we believe the overall semiconductor... blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is a really short article. Yeah, so... the earlier estimates were in 2023. Now it's in 2024, which... I don't know when it's going to happen. What I do know, though, is at least at this very moment, shit got very cheap. So, not very cheap, like cheap relative. If we go to the AMD line, so the Arc GPUs were supposed to come out around now, but they didn't because they got delayed. So this has led to both AMD and Intel massively jacking up their production. Turns out, when you up your production even in a chip shortage, prices come down. So, about a month ago, this was $650. Now it is $550, which is more than I want to pay. Normally, $730 is not even, like, that's just stupid. This is more than I want to pay, but it's coming down, and it's going to go back up because they massively upped the production, and we are at where we're at now. The same thing is happening in certain places in the EU as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening on American markets. Here we go. Here's another one. The 6700 XT. I don't know when the last time it was at 1249 was. I think, though, about a month ago it was over 1,000. Obviously, high-end is still just genuinely stupid, but high-end is always stupid. So we'll have to see what sort of effect this has going on into the future. What I do know is the part shortage does seem, at least from the consumer perspective, does seem like it's basically over. Like, obviously, prices are still jacked up, but unlike the early days, you're not having trouble finding hardware. Right now, prices are expensive, but most things are in stock. That's the difference. And that's, I think, what's really confusing a lot of people. Because it doesn't seem like there is a part shortage, a chip shortage, when I, right now, can buy, like, 10 GPUs. Are they expensive GPUs? Of course they are, without a doubt. But pretty much anything I want to buy, even if some of them... I did that backwards. Even if some SKUs are, or some products in a SKU are out of stock, there's always, like, at least one thing. Like, this one's out of stock, but you could buy this one for the same price. Or this one's out of stock, and this one's out of stock, but you could buy this one. 3060 Ti, I think, is in the range of mining cards still, so that's why a lot of those are out of stock. But, like, yeah, it looks weird from a consumer perspective, and this is why there's a lot of people that are saying that the tech companies are just scalping at this point, because it looks like they're just scalping. If I can buy a GPU, why are the prices still so high? Like, why is it like that? Obviously, there are supply chain issues that still do exist, but they have been alleviated to some extent, and I have a feeling that Linus's theory may be correct, that some of these supply chain issues may have been a bit overblown, or may not have been overblown in the early days, but have been overblown in the recent months. It seems like there's no trouble at this point to get the price, or to get the parts out if you want to get them out. It seems awfully suspicious that at the original release date of the Arc GPUs, that everyone else's GPUs suddenly become cheaper. Like, that just seems odd. And oh, my camera just completely what a frame to die on. What an insane frame to die on. I'm gonna stop the recording for a second. But yeah, it does seem suspicious, at least to some people.